I want to welcome our last guest of this live, Metallicus CEO, Marshall Hayner. Hey,
Thanks
Marshall.
for having me on, Jen. It's a pleasure. How are
Of
you?
course. Of course. So, we've been talking a lot about what's going on today, what it means for the industry from different perspectives. I just want to get your perspective here. I know that you previously, as the CEO of Metallicus, dealt a lot with credit unions and the banking sector. Talk to us a little bit about your experience dealing with these sectors under the previous administration, how you expect that to change, and what that means for you as the CEO of the business.
Yeah, so a little bit about us and my background. Metallicus, we're building a network for banks and credit unions to connect and interface with the blockchain. We call it the Digital Banking Network. And in 2020, we actually applied to form a bank under the OCC charter at that time. That was a special charter for fintechs focused around cryptocurrency. I think it's been a very difficult time for banking and crypto over the past, I don't know, I guess you could say almost 8 years. It's been difficult because there haven't been federal guidelines and definitions of digital assets and assigned regulators. As Marco said earlier, you had an agency, the SEC, who under Chairman Gensler and under Joe Biden's office was very hostile towards crypto. And as you heard mentioned, kind of pursued a very unorthodox approach, which was regulation by enforcement that really forced entrepreneurs outside of the United States to Singapore, to Europe, to other parts of the world. It really kind of sent a chilling effect. And you can see that Coinbase is now engaged in litigation, for example, with the FDIC to uncover some of these memos, what was happening. But I think with President Trump's incoming administration, it's going to be the most exciting time you've ever seen for cryptocurrency. I myself have been around for quite some time, about a decade and a half. So I've watched our space go from nascent, hobbyists and, early tech people to the largest Fortune 500, Fortune 50 companies, even such as BlackRock, getting involved in the blockchain. So I predict over the next few years, you're going to see kind of a resurgence. And if you remember in 2020, there were the OCC memos, the interpretive memos around stablecoins, banks' abilities to issue stablecoins, run nodes, and participate in blockchain networks. I think we're going to see that come online. And I think that we'll also finally have the opportunity to hold Bitcoin in our bank. And I think that's really important for going mainstream.
Have you had any conversations with the incoming administration? You heard me ask Marco the same question earlier. I know many in leadership roles in this industry have had conversations with the administration over the past few months. Have you?
Yeah, so I haven't spoken with Trump's team directly, but I have had some opportunity. Like we had our live stream with Congressman Byron Donalds and some other people from the Financial Services Committee. And I think that there is, again, like Marco said, I don't want to expose any private conversations, but what I'm seeing is a lot of excitement about embracing blockchain. You obviously, everyone in crypto saw Trump's meme coin launch. It was almost like a signal to the world. The United States is open to blockchain, open to new technologies. We're going to stop the regulation by enforcement. We're going to start to welcome them in, and that's really the kind of the feedback that I've gotten from Congress members, from those in office, and the regulatory conversation. I think it depends on which agency you're talking to, obviously. But I also would say that even during the past 4 years where it's been difficult, the regulators are interfacing with crypto companies. They are talking with them. And I think that this is going to be, like I said, the most exciting time, because now you have, for the first time in United States history, a president who openly embraces blockchain, who's very excited about it. And blockchain's not that old. It's a little over 15 years old. And now we're finally going to have the opportunity to get that federal clarity of assigned regulators, different types of digital assets. And it just wasn't there before. So I think that's going to open up the floodgates. And, if you look at like BlackRock coming into this space, imagine all of the largest financial institutions starting to launch not just pilots or experiments, but actual live products for consumers and for enterprise.
I'd like to ask you if you could just gaze into your crystal ball of what you would like to see in an executive order, setting aside the flashy stuff, right? Like the strategic Bitcoin reserve or pardoning Ross Ulbricht. What might you want to see in one of these initial executive orders that would give some real clarity to the
Yeah,
industry?
these 2020 memos that were written at the OCC by Jonathan Gould were fantastic. I would like to see that get picked back up. That was just starting to gain momentum right before Biden came into office. So these memos, for those that are not familiar, it was the right for banks under OCC National Association members to custody crypto, to issue stable coins, and to run nodes in a blockchain network. And I thought that was huge progress. Unfortunately, when Biden came in, that was immediately squashed. Not only was it squashed, it was really kind of a complete 180 in the direction of the acceptance by the federal regulators of recognizing crypto as money. And really, that's what we need to be doing to move our technology and economic policy towards digital assets and blockchain forward. It really positions us on the world stage to become leaders. And I think we lost about 4 years of time. Meme coins, all that stuff, that's fun for people that are playing with crypto, but it's not serious like stable coins. And there's has been this conversation of CBDC. I have always been a fan of private stable coins because when I compare it to, for example, like the parcel service, I want to use FedEx. I don't maybe I'm not going to use USPS to get something overnight like a business document. That's kind of how I see, for example, like Circle USDC or PayPal Dollar, or what we're working on at Metallicus with Metal Dollar. I would like to see clear guidelines for banks, for credit unions, and financial institutions to integrate cryptocurrency. Who are the assigned regulators? How do they operate? That's really been one of the things that's been lacking. So I'd like to see those memos picked back up. And I'd like to see a change in guard over at the SEC. I think the CFTC has been, very straightforward with crypto, but the SEC has been one of those murky areas that has given entrepreneurs pause. And I think it also has prevented really, banks and larger companies from entering the crypto space. So ability to custody crypto, our stablecoin policy, if that's not going to be towards CBDC, which I'm totally fine with. I know many people are against it. I know President Trump has said something against it. That's fine because we already have the FedEx of crypto. It's already operating, right? We already have Circle USDC and other popular stablecoins. So, just give it, when you look at the EU and MiCA, we need that in the United States. We should have had that a long time before EU. And I love the EU. My co-founder is from Belgium, but I think the United States really needs to catch up here. And so this is our big opportunity.
All right, last question here before we take this live stream live so our audience can watch the swearing in ceremony of the vice president, the incoming vice president and president. Is I want to ask you, do you think crypto as an industry is ready to be up there in the ranks with AI? And the reason I ask you this is because we have an AI and crypto czar in the incoming administration. And that really kind of levels crypto up to not just this industry that we all operate in that really takes up much of our lives, but everyone outside doesn't really understand it. It really levels it up to a technology that is defining the future of humankind. Are we ready?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've been involved in crypto when it was just a joke, right? I mean, I'm not saying it was a joke, but those are the early days, like Dogecoin, right? I think that's where we started, and where we are now is blockchain is really going to be the rails, the networks that are going to underpin and connect financial institutions globally. When you look at AI, if machines are going to become sentient, or we're going to reach AGI, how are they going to pay each other? How are they going to interact? So these two technologies really do go hand in hand. And I think that cryptocurrency is probably one of the most important technologies to move the world forward in terms of if you just look at what the internet did for e-commerce and did for business, everything runs on the internet now. Blockchain is going to empower the global economy. So I don't really think that AI can grow like it should be able to grow without blockchain, and they really go hand in hand. So I think we're ready. It's, people have every at this point, most Americans have heard of Bitcoin. They've heard of digital currency. You can buy digital currency in PayPal. You have Coinbase. You have MetalPay, Robinhood. You have unlimited number of apps, and it's only a matter of time before machines start to use blockchain. And that's I see the convergence of AI really happening over the next few years, because not only blockchain was something that I think was stifled under the previous administration, but also you may have heard that AI was a conversation under Biden's administration that they really wanted to, corral it in and not allow companies to grow. And that's something when you look at EU, the AI industry is not exploding over there because the regulations have stifled it so much. So this is really America's time to shine. I'm very excited for the Trump administration and how they're going to position AI and blockchain together. And like I said, they go hand in hand. And when they can operate together in a clear environment, we're going to see an absolute explosion of this industry, and a lot of companies that left a while back potentially coming back very soon.
All right, Marshall, we are going to have to leave it there. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.